Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Shawn Sims here again with my brother Charles Williams, and we are here for a podcast, another episode of The Moment of Men. And tonight's topic we're going to be discussing is how far are you willing to go for your woman? So
Yeah.
So this is a huge thing for me right now, and just in the season of my marriage. So
Okay.
I do have some insight on that and how far I have gone already.
Right.
And we're gonna just jump right into that. So I'll give you some background history. Give you guys some background history. My wife and I, we've been married not probably, but it'll be 20 years in April.
Okay.
23, yes, 20 years, and we've been together since 2001. We've got 4 children, 3 girls and a boy. Two of them, one of them is out of the house, one of them is in college, and still 2, and one in middle school and one in high school. And so we've had many ups and downs in our relationship, and I'm still here. I mean, marriage is tough, man. And marriage is really, really tough. And my wife and I are both believers. And so we do a lot. We invest a lot in our relationship, and it's still tough. It's still tough. I don't know how people, and I think I said this before on our podcast, I don't know how couples do it that don't have a relationship with God. And because we try to incorporate God into it, and I say try loosely because time as far as devoting to Him is slim with all those kids. And I know we need to do a better job, and I need to do a better job in leading her. But there is a time constraint with all of our kids' things, me running the business, her running the business. So it gets difficult to incorporate the Lord into our marriage, which we should be doing more. But then again, there's times when I really don't want to because I don't like my wife at times. And I'm like,
real talk.
Yeah. So it's just like, I don't want to pray with her because she says something wrong, or she reacted a certain type of way that I don't agree with, and we had an argument, we had a spat, or we had a disagreement. And it's just like, I was sat down with a good friend of mine today, as a matter of fact, and he was talking exactly about that. Listen, he said, no, it's going to be tough, but over time, hopefully, if you're leading the right way, then you're changing your wife's behavior. And he says, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen overnight, but, in a couple of years, maybe. And I'm like, I don't know if I got a couple of years. I don't know if I got a couple of years. It hurts, man. I'm hurt.
Right.
Like a lot of times I'm hurt. And I think guys have a difficult time expressing that they are hurt. It all comes out as anger or frustration. But it's painful. It's really painful. I find myself sometimes just crying in the car, just over the pain that I'm feeling inside. And so talking about how far do you go, it's like, yeah, it's affecting my health, but I'm still in it, and I'm still seeking just some good men, some guidance from good godly men on what to do. But yeah, it can be very difficult, and I'm sure a lot of men are out there saying, but you don't know what I'm going through, and you don't know my wife or my spouse or my situation. I don't, but I can only speak from my experience. So yeah.
2 things I want to say from this, right? And God, you make me want to stay single, like. No, man, I admire what you're doing. I love what you're doing, and I always say that I've been there and didn't get 23 years. I unfortunately lost my wife to breast cancer. I did try to give myself a swing at a relationship after, figuring that if I was more than enough, I would get simply the things I need. But with you, I'm going to say this, man, watching you as a single dude and reconnecting and walking back into my spirituality, I have a sense of admiration for you, because one of the things that I know for a fact for any successful relationship, and I just talked with a shorty the other day, was having a conversation, and I just told her she's like, oh, we talk about like, submissive and a man leading. And I was just like, you know what? A woman can't understand what that's like, because if she hasn't surrendered herself to God and know that she has a place with Him, she won't know her place with me. So no matter how effective my leadership is, no matter what I'm trying to lead, she won't see the plan, because if you only look at what I'm trying to do in the flesh, it may not make sense. You have to have a relationship with God. And the fact that y'all still holding on, the fact that you're hurting, the fact that as a man, you say, I'm hurting, I don't want to pray. I don't want to. That's still admirable because people don't understand how important that is to have God in the forefront of your relationships, because without that, who knows where y'all would be at? Who knows where you would be right now?
Right.
You're saying, I'm hurting, I'm doing this, but I'm still here because I know what the word of God says and and it's not that you're never an overly preachy brother, but you're, like I always say, it's the best people lead by the example. There's a scripture in the Bible says, by their fruits you shall know them. The fact that you still sitting there, right? Still in it, you're still in your word, and you're like, I'm going to stay here because this is what God's plans is. I don't like this right now, but hey, I'm hurting, huh? Like here, but I'm still going to lead. I'm still going to be. That's what our podcast is all about. Like moment of men, it's the men standing up in the midst of our hurt. And I think the thing is, you said something that was so, just so it was just so wonderful. It is like people only see it as anger, right? And I think that people only see a man's hurt as anger when they want to choose a blind eye or want to ignore the pain that a man feels. Because a lot of women have men that will go the mile, they will go the extra distance and would do it, but don't see it. So I had this conversation with a shorty, one about leading, and two about knowing a man's ability. Like I said in my last relationship, I gave until I didn't have any more to give, and still I was there to give, right? Because I thought like we were walking down a path, and later will be recognized. Because as a man, not everything's going to be appreciated at that moment. Like there's nothing when you're a real dude. There's nothing in the cards that says, "Oh, you get instant gratification for the sacrifice you made." Oh, you were tearing, you were fearful, you were hurting. Oh, baby, it is not the way it works. But the thing is that even when a woman displays faith without works and substance that is not seen, and she's tearful, even in her wrongs, I'm supposed to cater to her. I'm supposed to show sympathy or show remorse. But if your tears are used um, to manipulate me and they don't match what you're saying or what you're supposed to be doing, I don't want to. I don't want to give that instant gratification. But then at the same time, I'm punished because now I don't understand. But I'm sitting in my own hurt and can't get you to see me or help me or even to recognize that I'm hurting.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, man, I'm telling you, it's from our healthcare to our mental health system to everything. The idea is that, oh, you're the man, suck it up. You're the strong. I'm sorry, she's just as smart as I am. Like, what do you mean I have to suck it up? Like, why is that? And I said, like, I love Jasmine Tola. She said, and I don't want to ramble.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, dude, I'm on one to the. I mean, I was
listen. I want to listen to hear you. Not interject. So
Right.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, we're partners. I just don't want to. I don't want to know. Like they be like, that guy over there, he just takes over the conversation. If he just shut up and let the real Christians speak.
No. We're both real.
Well, I know, but I'm just dealing with it to worldly people and how they judge.
I think what you're saying is that men aren't acknowledged for their pain.
Nope.
It's only the women are acknowledged for their pain. But on the one hand, men don't show their pain. Like they show their pain after it's over. Like you said, I can only give until I can't give anymore, and then I give some more. And then once that tank is gone, men are gone. They leave. They want a divorce because they couldn't communicate to their spouses that they were in pain a lot of times. And they were dealing with all this stuff, dealing with their spouse's stuff, dealing with the stuff that we as men take on every day, as having that pressure put upon us as, the leaders, the breadwinners, which my wife makes more money than me, just to let you guys know. She's a psychologist. But we are expected to lead our families and protect them and work hard, which I do, even though my wife still makes more money than me.
Money don't negate leadership. Don't start that. I don't want to hear no comments. Money don't negate leadership.
It doesn't, but
Right.
There's pressure put on men, undue pressure, unforeseen pressure that we just don't know how to communicate to our spouses a lot of times. And if you have a loving husband at home, I encourage you to acknowledge him, make a big deal out of him, working every day, working hard, fixing things around the house, because what's going to happen is when you make a big deal about him not doing something, it's just like, dude, what did you say to me when I did fix the washing machine, or when I did put the deck on the house, or things of that nature. Like, can I get some acknowledgement for that? But all you do seem to do is point out the negative stuff the stuff that I'm not doing, or you see, or you think you see me not doing. So if you're going to be a person that points out someone's faults, make sure you do 10 times or 100 times more pointing out their positive attributes than that your spouse has. There's in family life, and I talk about family life all the time because if, without them, me and my wife would be divorced right now. But it talks about we have to be your spouse's cheerleader. Like, if he plays sports ever, if he played football or basketball, they had cheerleaders out on the field. They were cheering you on. It's no different when you get married. Men like to be cheered on. They like to be pursued. They like to be acknowledged. If they don't have a job that's doing that for them, then you got to do that. And even if they do have a job that acknowledge their accomplishments, you got to be right behind his manager or his boss. Like, honey, good job. Great job. I'm so proud of you for that promotion. I'm so proud of you for working so hard for our family. I'm so proud of you for leading our family. If he's taking you to church, or if you took him to church and he's still going to church, and he may not be walking with the Lord as what you in the direction at the same speed that you are, but he's doing it. Just continue to acknowledge that and give him some support and some love. So yeah, because we don't typically get that.
No, and I think the thing is that, but then to ask for accolades, it's almost like you're bragging. Like I say, my job is, I always say this as former a businessman. I work full time. I have a small business, and I always say, I was telling my children, I'm also a hustler. Because if my family wants something, I will do anything to make it happen. And anybody who's been with me will tell you that's just how I am. I will give, and I don't really. And I'm simple. I don't need you to be like, oh, hi, is home. Oh my God. No. I cook. I do most of the cooking. Like, I don't care. I do the cooking, do the laundry. Come on and let me know. A hug, a rub on my shoulders, personal touch, affection. Like my love language is affection.
Right.
I don't need big gifts. I don't need a lot of affection is what I ask for. And that doesn't equate to pum pum all the time, right? But that's not what I'm chasing. It's the affection. It's when I walk in the door that she recognizes me. That I feel like when I walk in the door that my queen knows that her king steps in the door. Like, it's the phone calls in the middle of the day, like, hey babe, I just wanted to let you know. That means everything. That carries me a long way. Right. I don't need much. And I'll tell you, I'm to a point where I always say I come with instructions. I have a manual. I write it all up, and I'm like, here, this is what I chuck these, right? Here, all yours. I'm all yours. I come up. If I stop working, there's a knob in the back. You just have to turn it. And if that don't work, just change the batteries. I got you. I'll just give me a little jump every now and then. So I come with that. Right. I tell them that. So when I don't see that, I'm like, okay, it's gonna be my turn. And then I'm just like watching. And then when it don't happen for me, I'm like, hey, like, and then, you tell me whatever is going on with you, that's fine. And I'm like, okay, well, what can I do? But see, a man will go to any great lengths to give the woman he loves anything she wants, right? Within reason. But here's the thing. The second part to that is, you cannot talk about what you need, and when the man steps in to take stuff off of your plate, you say, no, I got it, honey, and you don't really mean it. You can't do that. That right now that's ineffective communication. That's sending the wrong message, because then what is it that you just like having your plate full? So now when I go to take stuff off of you, you want to claw me up and down my arm? Okay, well, what can I do? If all that is fine for you, what else can I do? Just do this and just do this. And you're talking to a man, works, business, do whatever, cooks, does the laundry. I clean lightly.
I mean, when you do the laundry.
No. I always say, like, I'm good at cleaning. I have OCD. But and here's a little tidbit about me. If I'm in a house with a woman, right, the little stuff the really, like, the terminal cleaning and all that stuff, I'm good with, but I'm so slow. So I have to take a room a couple of days, right?
I thought you were gonna say
no, 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 no,
yeah,
no,
that's not working.
right, right,
Dirty.
yeah. And then I'm like, that's why I'm like, hey, don't wait a second, wait on. And they're like, yo, Dad, like, just here you go, good, good, right? So it was like when I was married, like I would organize my closet, right? It would take me a week. My wife would go in 3 hours and just boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom. And it's got to a point where my closet was like a mess. And it was like, and then when my kid comes in and puts stuff out of order, it just messes with me.
So if you say you have OCD, then do you get distracted easy? So if you're starting with your closet, you find something else, then you go take that or start that project, then you go, okay,
Yeah.
all right, I got you.
Yeah. And
I can't do that.
no,
I have to focus.
I
And I like we came home from church, right? We came home from church Sunday.
right,
I touched my blinds and I was like, "Ooh, this is so dingy."
right.
I cleaned all my blinds, like in with the Eagles game coming on at halftime. I cleaned the blind after the Eagles game was over, which it was over. Good job, Eagles, this year. Before the game was over, I was back cleaning the blinds. It was just like I had to get it done because it was bothering me when I touched it. It was like, nasty. I don't want my kids touching it, my wife touching it.
Right.
I just cleaned all the blinds.
Right.
And so, it's for me. I focus on one thing at a time. My wife says I can't sit down. She says, Daddy can't sit still." Like kids are like, "Where's Daddy at?" I got to be doing something. Especially has stuff to do around the house. Yeah.
Well, if I sit down and I see a crumb on the floor, I get up and start vacuum. Then that turns into, well, maybe I should. Then that turns into I should wipe the corners. So I need to be somewhere where a partner is like, okay, I need to make sure this is right for him, so we can sit the hell down.
Yeah.
Like, which is why.
But as a single man, you got a lot on your plate, so I can understand. You're going from this thing to that thing, and with 3 kids in the house, it's just a lot. And so I can understand you seeing something out of place or seeing something else that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And just doing that. But I would just encourage you just to take one thing at a time and finish that job. And when you finish it, so they talk about, so here's the thing about like difference between men and women, right? Well, I don't know, because you seem to be the spider webby kind. So women are spider webs, right? So women think like they say if you have a computer, right, and you've got all these windows open, right? For women, all those windows are connected. So, the lunch box is connected to the dinner box, is connected to the work box, is connected to the kids box, is connected to the sports box. They're all connected, right? For men, it's different. We got all these boxes open. We can close the boxes and just see one box, right? And then focus on that one box, and then put that box away or close that box, and then open another box. And it's still 20 boxes down there, but they're not all on the screen, right? So women's are all open on the screen. Men's are closed. We got one box at a time.
Yeah. No.
So and then you got all boxes around.
And now with my little one, right? So my little bugger, keeps me busy,
right?
So the older ones, they kind of like do their thing, and then my little guy, he's like, oh. Like no,
yeah,
and it's like, and he's zoom. So I have to keep up with him, keep up with my project, right? And then on top of that, so that keeps me busier, right? And then he goes into another room and like, oh shoot, I gotta clean this, right? So I'm just saying, like, when you have somebody, right, it's about knowing, right? But knowing and part of that about man giving, right? And to reel it back into the title, right? A man will do anything. And for me, the reason why I'm a spider web is because I gave and sort of focused on the window, and kind of the other boxes left that to somebody to trust again, and it cost me. So I don't want people, now they were like, oh, let me do this. I don't want no one doing anything. I don't want you doing anything for me. No. The next person that gets to do anything for me is going to value that. I'm not giving that space away. So I'm good. I don't mind getting up at 5 and going to bed at 11. I am okay. Because the thing is that I know what I can give. I know that for me, that I'll run on empty just so you stay full. But that's not it. But for a person that loves me, she would never let that happen.
So the person that thinks loves you, she wouldn't let that happen.
No,
a good person wouldn't let that happen. There are plenty of people that let that happen.
I hear that nonsense, that foolishness, and I'm just like, and the thing is that, when you learn about boundaries, when you learn about self-care, value, when you learn about, like, fruits of labor, like how people's actions should match what they say, and of how someone says something and it's not matching. This is, and anyone knows me, I'm not a big proponent. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, right? I'm not a big proponent on keep talking about stuff. You watch me. I'll say this and I'll live it accordingly, right? And if you call me, like if I don't do something, right? Um, it's got to be a reason, right? But even with that reason, if it's something that's not working for you and I, you're like, hey, Chuck, like, um, you and your friends, they got Domino's, they had a glass of wine, and I feel uncomfortable in this wine because I've had not you, yeah, I know, but I've been through treatment, and I'll be like, okay, we don't need to have wine because I want all of whoever's around me to feel good, right? And so much so that I remember a story one time, a true story. I remember one time I was going out with my friends just every once in a while because I don't see them enough and I'm living far away from them, right? So I used to really enjoy it. It was my space. It was my kind of like my God time, right? And then I was, you know, in a situation and it was just like, oh, I didn't like that. So I was like, I made a space for me and my guys to come up here. And then when I think the thing is in that space, when the situation said, oh, well, you I don't like now that you have that space. I don't like you doing that and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. Like they're here, and this is that space where we can do it. Like, and that's still not good enough. And then I regrouped. I thought, okay, well that's fun. And I just told my uncles like, hey, I love y'all. Maybe I'll just Uber to you, or we'll find another one of my boys. But then when I looked at my first value is if what you love should never separate from what loves you, right? So the idea is that when you come along, when you get into a relationship, and I tell my children, right, whenever you get married, remember, we as a family are marrying that person. So if that person's main goal is to take you away or not be happy when you're with us, then maybe you should be happy without them. Like I don't, I my I have since I was very young had the idea that I just want a family. I All that I have is just so I can enjoy family. I want someone that's of that mindset, and yet I'm very tough right now where I'm at. I'm at a tough space where I just don't want to share because I can do it all myself.
Right.
I can do it all, but here's the thing: if I give that to anybody again, you know what I mean? Like I know I will give anything, hands down. She doesn't have to worry about anything. If I don't have it, I'll get it. But at the same time, what I need is another bottle of water. I don't need a cap because what I did was pour all of what I is into a cap. And when it was time for when I needed it back, I got a cap full and my jar was always empty. I need another water bottle to pour it into because if she's full and I'm full, we don't need to take the lid off of progress because we're both full. And when we come together, we just make our own. And that's what I need. I need, but even with that being said, should she become empty and I need to replenish her or hail her up, like you said about cheerleading, I don't mind celebrating who I'm with. You know what I
I
mean?
think we, I think we, I think a lot of couples stop celebrating each other. I
They
think
shouldn't though. That's listen. That's
shouldn't. But no, you absolutely right. You shouldn't. But I think that's the detriment of a lot of marriages. You stop celebrating. You stop remembering or thinking about what got you to love that person or to like that person. Like what attracted you to that person. And sometimes that thing you thought was cute before is now an annoyance, a huge annoyance to you. And it's like, but really that was cute to you before. Why isn't that now an annoyance? And so, a lot, when you stop dating, when you get married, you still got to date. You still gotta get back, you get back in there and discover that person over and over again. I talk about family life a lot because they have what's called Weekend to Remembers. They're all throughout the country, and it's a good way for us to refresh our marriage because we need it. Like we absolutely need a refresher course and what it looks like to be husband and wife and what
right.
in a biblical way. And so that's what they do, and they encourage you to go through this book, and the speakers are fantastic, and they bring a lot of insight into and they speak into our marriage,
Mhm.
and that's important for us. And still, we as sinners, as imperfect people, we still don't get it right, and so
Right.
we need to continue to do that. And that's the
Mhm.
same thing with dating. You need to continue to date that person, continue to provide good memories and good experiences for one another, so that when you do have those hard times, you can think back. Like, as a photographer, in my house, I've got tons of photographs that I took of my family and of my wife, and they're hanging up in a room on my wall. So when I feel discouraged about my marriage, I can just, I let the dogs out and I sit there and I just say a prayer while I'm looking at just the photos on my wall. Like, this is, God gave her to you for a reason.
Yeah.
Whatever reason that might be. You may be angry with her, upset, or hurt right now, but hopefully things will change, and but this is who they are. And it's not just her, right? It's your kids. It's like, you know, divorce can be messy, and separation can be messy. And, what happens with, your living arrangements. And it's just like, do I really want to deal with that? Should I just continue to work within this frame that you've given me, meaning my marriage? Or is it bad enough where I'm not only hurting her, but also my children? Do I do that in order to find some peace for me? And can I just have peace and be in a marriage that's broken and continue to try and work at it, and hopefully go to counseling and do all these other things, and date, so that I can endure that, because it's a huge burden sometimes.
Two things I would say this. I would say you talk about like couples dating. A lot of times couples dating, right? And I would say single folks need to stay out of married folk business, right? Because as a single man, I want to tell you that nothing is more important than your peace, right? But your peace and your focus is your home and your marriage, right? So only you and God and other married men are qualified. I am not qualified to really even be in that space. So I will say this: I could always listen as your friend, right? But I always say that too many people want to interject the ideation of what marriage should be. And with all these changing and non-motivational views on marriages, man, I really despise the way people's views on marriages, man. Marriages work, right? And it's going to get tough sometimes. And my grandparents used to tell me all the time, I'm older people are funny. It's like, I don't know. He was like, man, I didn't like that woman. I wanted to wish she would have fell off a bridge, but I can't imagine. You know what I mean? They can't imagine. And I'm just like, no one wants to go through that part that you're going through, right? But when you get through it and you go to that point where you're having a discussion and you're just like, man, yeah, I felt like that, but I can't imagine that's my baby. You know what I mean? Like, because when you start remembering all the times that what brought you there and how you got there, you know what I mean? It takes just as much work to live to be miserable as it does to be happy.
Yeah, it's going to be just about the same hurt and burden I'm going to have
Right.
as being single,
Right.
as
Right.
it is being married. So,
Right. Right.
but staying married, I don't put that burden or that hurt onto my children, which is a huge motivation for me, because, as coming up, I was raised in a single family, and I know how that felt.
I am the biker neither. I like to bike.
That's right.
Everywhere is bike. Are you on bike? I am bike. Shawn is bike.
I cycle a lot, people.
Yeah.
So before the thing cut off, I was saying that, um, it was devastating for me when my father left the house, and
Right.
I don't want to put that onto my children. I want my children to grow up, with their father, and that's a main motivation for me to still be in the house and to try to rectify and our marriage, or that situation, and help my wife and I get to have a better my marriage and relationship. So,
Well, I can't argue that because there's a covenant with Christ involved. I'm just going to tell you, just monitor to make sure that you're happy, even in the middle of misery. There's a smile somewhere, right? But just remember that they're watching everything you do.
right.
And I got to remind myself, because man, with everything I do, this one they just remember, man, my daughter, I think she thinks she's my mother now. You know, she's over my shoulder. I'm FaceTime. She's like, "Who's that? What are they saying? Are they coming here?" And I'm like, Scylla, I'm like, no, don't do that. But the continue back where we were at,
Yeah.
just to show you that there's nothing a good man won't do for you, man. I mean, like if you Shawn is right now is evident going through some tough times, but he is unwavering about his ability to stand in the midst of it.
I don't know about unwavering, but
You're unwavering. You're unwavering. Your emotions, man.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, the fact is that you want to pull in the work. And here's the thing: is that you hear women say, "Oh, you know, men don't. They leave at the first sign of trouble." Well, here it is, and here it is. But it's evident. Like, don't do that. Like a man will give you all that he has. You know, if he feels valued and treasured in the midst of it, even in the midst of the work, right? But also, there's a covenant responsibility. With this being said, I'm careful to say this because a lot of brothers when they first learn the Bible say, "You will still do what I say." The Bible says I'm the man, and this, that, and the other, right? But they miss the whole part where it says you shall love her, and so Christ. Yeah, but they missed that part where they say you should love her as the way so Christ loved his people and the church. So he gave his life for his people. You know what I mean? And so which is why I always joke, like if somebody's banging on the door, you hear a glass break, I should be the first to get up. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? And
Submissive doesn't mean like you don't have an opinion. It just means that the man is the final say, that God expects the man to be the final say, and he's going to get judged for whatever decision you make. So even if you've made the decision or you guys have made the decision together and it doesn't work out, in the end, your husband will be the one that's judged on it, not you.
Right. Yeah. And I always say, and I love this, and I always say this, submissive don't mean silence. No one wants to smother you with silence and be like, I'm not being quiet. No, that's not what that is. That is simply saying,
I'm not doing what he said.
Right.
Not doing what he said.
Right. And just like, honey, I'm telling you, we don't need to buy that. We don't need to buy that new Escalade. Let's just get the Tesla. It's going to work better for our family. We'll save gas. We'll save this.
But that's what I want.
Right.
But I want that. I want that.
Right.
And then men will give up. They will acquiesce.
Yeah.
They will be like, okay, listen.
Right.
And I do that. Like, because I don't only tell you a few times.
Right.
And then you're just going to have to bite the bullet. Like, whatever you decide.
Right.
It's going to be on you.
Right.
That decision you have to make. Right. Because I'm giving you my opinion.
Right.
I provided my insight on the issue or the topic.
Right.
And if you don't trust that, then I can't tell you but a couple of times, and then I'm just gonna sit back and watch you end up failing or whatever you got to do.
Yeah, but the toughest part about it in a relationship, you gonna wind up paying for that even anyway. Because it'll be like, you know what, this car don't work as good as it should. Oh,
I told you.
Yeah,
or I'm spending too much money in gas.
Right.
We're spending a lot of money. I told you. Like, dude, I told you. Tesla, you don't spend no money. There's a little bit electric. Right. You get it driven and right.
But my girlfriend said, oh,
you ain't in a relationship with your girlfriend. Your girlfriend ain't paying your bills.
Right. Your girlfriend can't do what I can do. Like, let's not do that.
Yeah.
And that's another thing too. I always find this, right, that people ask me, like, when in a relationship, they would say, like, Chuck, you don't share much, right? And there's a fear for me, honestly, because I know that the woman who I love, I'll give anything to. My heart, my mind, she don't got to worry about nothing. Listen, if you're taking care of me in a relationship, you don't ever got to worry about another woman. You just don't.
Right.
That's just not what I do, because it may be a pain in the ass. I'll be like, babe, can I?
But wait, what happens if she's not taking?
Then I'm still loyal, right? As long as you there, I'm loyal. But the moment you walk out that motherfucking door, son,
me or you separate, get divorced.
No, I'm not married.
No.
You gotta wait on.
I know that. I know that.
I don't know, but yeah. You leaving? All right. Ooh. I'm fucking. But it's no. But I'm as long as we're in this, I'm gonna continue to fight. Like I don't. I always tell you. I really what I said at the beginning of the podcast. I come with a freaking manual. And if you did, well, Chuck, you said if you do this, you're supposed to do this. All right, hon. Call me on my
Right.
I tell on myself from the beginning. When we first go there, I tell you everything.
Right.
Here's what you look for. When I'm in Jamaica, if I'm going there, I will take you to the places I go. So when you pop up on me at the airport, you know exactly where to find me. I have nothing to hide. I'm good
Right.
on any coast. You never got to worry about me. You don't. And and for me, I always say this when I'm in a relationship, right? It's you can get sex anywhere as a man, right? What I care about is you. If you're good to me and any woman's good to me and super good to me, that I want you and I want to be intimate all the time with you because you are who takes care of me.
Right.
You are who gives me my affection. You are when you starve me of that, then everything else becomes unappealing to me because then I feel it puts me in a dark place. I was in a place where when
Just suffocating.
it is.
Can't
And
breathe.
right. And then especially being in a part when I was in, well, when my wife was dying, the last 2 years, she just couldn't. Cancer with the treatments and stuff for her hands, she couldn't. And I understood that, right?
Right.
It let me know that I should never be in another relationship with someone starves me about because then it's crippling to me.
Right.
Because now you're trying to torture me. If I told you that put me in a very dark place, and I'm no God recipe, no disrespect to her at all. It was just, but I just say that. But it teaches you to learn something from that. I can never be in that space. If for better for worse, if something happens, I will live and function. But you just to be okay and just be like, oh, I know what he wants. He wants me when he sit down. He wants me to rub his hand, or he wants me to, and you're purposely. That's real big.
Yeah.
Like you know.
Especially when if you've told them, like
Right.
you said, you come with a manual,
Right.
and you've told them this is what makes me feel good. This is what makes me feel connected to you. This is
Right.
what makes me happy.
Right.
This is all you have to do, are these things right here.
Right.
And then they don't do that for you.
Or you make me feel like it's work for you. Then
Right. Like, I don't need that.
yeah,
If you can't just do it out of the goodness of your heart, for the things that I'm doing for you,
right.
like I'm
Right.
contributing to this relationship,
Right.
and
Right.
you know what makes me feel good. I'm doing my best to make you feel good.
Right.
If that's work for you, then why are you here?
Right. Right.
If you can't do that,
Right.
then what are you doing? You're not gonna be able to do that for me. Then you're not gonna be able to do that for anybody else.
You may be able to do it for somebody else, it just won't last.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so skedaddle.
Right.
Go out about your business. Shoo. Go find yourself. You know what I mean?
Maybe they just need to be alone for a moment to work on themselves in order to.
You tell a woman to work on herself, that's like telling her to go fuck herself. I'm sorry. It's and I'm sorry, ladies. I really am, but and not all.
They
but for some.
they get defensive.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, in a relationship, you can tell me what I need to be doing all day, and I gotta go do it, right? And this is my experience, and this is not every woman, but I go do it because I know ultimately if I'm doing life, if I'm in a relationship with you, and it's a choice, right? But if I'm doing life with you, if we're choosing to live together, we're choosing to fight this life and to do this together, I don't have a choice because there's something in me that's causing unhappiness in you or something. What do I need to do? So I need to work on that, right? But the thing is that but you gotta have a partner that's reciprocal, because when it's not reciprocated, you're like, well, what am I doing all this for?
Yeah.
Then it's like, I'm doing all of this, and it's like, what are you doing? And then the thing is that I'm the type, in relationship to bear witness, I'm the type that if I see you doing something, like, babe, I'm gonna back up a little bit because you need to do this, and I'm gonna give you the space to do the things you need to do, and I'll sit back, right? I'll just be there and I'll just sit back, right? I don't need other women because the person I'm in love with is struggling. I don't even need you to, only thing I need you to do in the middle of the struggle, here's what I'm doing, babe. Chuck, I understand that I did this, I'm doing this. I'm good. I'll sacrifice.
That's called humility, and not too many
Right.
people.
No, and that's the thing. But you know what though? A lot of women take that as a sense of weakness or a sense that you're a fool, right? And it's not. And it really is a strength. It takes a lot for me. Because listen, I can walk out easily. But I always say this. Any woman I said I'm with, I'm gonna love you and give you everything I got, right? But and you gonna feel like you the only woman. He up here wanting this and he making this and making plans. He's taking it and doing this because he want this. He love this, right? You're right. I do love you, and I'll give it to you. And I don't listen. I don't mind being a fool because at times I can act a fool, right? I'll give as well as I take. But the moment I'm done, once you out that door, I'm done. It's something in me as it is a seal to that, and I'm done. I don't I don't go backwards.
You don't linger. You know.
I don't. I don't. I cried for a week, let it go because this is like the Bible said. The man in the Bible said when he lost his son, it was a scripture about a king who lost his son, and he cried, went in the room, closed the door, cried for a week, and then came back out. And he's like, "Oh, you're not still mourning?" He was like, "Yeah, but what's the mourning gonna do? It's not gonna bring back my son. It's not gonna make him come back. I got life, gotta go on." And that's the way I feel. Like if we're in I will stick around and I will wait. If I have to wait, I will do anything. But I'm not sitting in continuous mourning because I got to figure out. Okay, number one, how did this? And I figure out. I started like I told you, everything is about growth. Start reading. Start going to men's group. Start really figuring out in therapy and process it. Why did I allow this? And one of the things about therapy I had to realize is that I have an issue with I'm so empathetic to the person my lover's needs that I sometimes ignore him and so sometimes you can be so empathetic to your lover's needs as a man that your needs go unmet and go even unrecognized, right? So then as a man, when you're hurt and you're like, hey, like I'm not getting the things that I need from you, right? And you're breaking, right? You're sitting around breaking and when you're broken and then you're just like, I don't know what to do here. I'm supposed to leave, but you're not following, you're not supporting me, you're not everything that I do around this house, you're negating or you're going up against, you're allowing stuff to happen when I'm not home, you're going behind my back. That is not, we are not one, right? I'm broken now as a man, I'm broken, right? Then now a couple months later, you having to live with my brokenness. Now you say you've had enough and you just can't, right? And now you're broken. And that becomes the megaphone or the megahorn of what the narrative, why that man's been broke.
And that's what I talked about when I was talking about earlier, like the hurt men that men experience, right?
Yeah.
We have to be able to verbalize that, like, yo, we can't just continue to sit and hurt. Like we gotta be able to say, "Hun, I'm hurting," and then the ball is in their court of what they want to do. But if they don't know, if they just, because we put a mask over it, we wear this mask like everything is okay,
Right.
and it's not, and we're just enduring, and then when we take this mask off, we're beat up, we're bruised, we're crying, we're in pain. And I said this before, hurt people hurt people.
Mm.
And so if we're hurt and we can't express that we're hurt, what happens then? And it comes out in anger, and then all hell breaks loose, and the relationship blows up. And if we would have just said, what you did hurt me or made me feel bad, or I'm in a lot of pain behind what you said or what you did or how you reacted, right? Then that gives your spouse, your wife, the opportunity to say, I'm sorry. But
Faith,
in most cases, that does not happen.
Yeah.
And then they defend.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, you hurt me. This is what you did to me.
Deflecting.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you did to me to make me do that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, but you didn't say anything when
Right.
it happened, right? So,
right. And when you deflect, all you do is reject. So when you're deflecting my feelings, you're rejecting my feelings.
Right.
If you come to me, I'm mature enough to say, okay, but I don't understand. What is it to give you examples? I remember being in a relationship. I said, give me examples of what I'm doing. I can't give you examples, but it hurts.
Yeah, how can we comprehend that?
Right. What
Right.
do I do with that?
Right.
I can't.
Yeah.
There's nothing for me to fix. There's no plan. There's no purpose, and there's no initiative, and there's nothing for me to grab and to repair. Right. But I'm giving you solid facts. Right. And if I'm giving you everything, right, it's because I love you. It's not and a lot of times women are, a lot of women, and not most, because strong women will know how to reach in and dig deep down in their bag, right? But some women are just not equipped to handle what they're asking for.
Yeah.
You want a strong man, you want a great relationship, you want a great provider, you want a leader, you want a man of God, you want a man that's going to love you, you want a man that's not going to cheat. Guess what? If I'm not cheating, right? And you and I, and I'm not getting mentally, emotionally fulfilled, right, at home, how are you prepared for what you're asking for? That's not to say that no man should cheat on you, but if you find reasons not to take care of that man more so than you do, how are you prepared for what you're asking for? I'm not saying that.
Dude, that's not unreasonable because even in scripture it talks about, don't go to bed angry,
Right,
or
right.
and also um don't withhold sex unless you both agree on it,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want either one of you to become tempted.
Right,
The Lord knows that we become tempted when we're not being physically intimate with each other.
right,
And so what you're saying is not is already been said.
right.
It's scripture,
Right.
and it's in the Bible. So
But this part did say it. I said he should have just gave us like an extra one to keep to ourselves. You know,
so we're going back to the Old Testament. We're in the New Testament, and we can do it with one man, one woman.
right. I ain't saying another woman. I'm just saying let me.
So you like with Abraham and Sarah when Sarah wasn't.
No. I'm not.
Sarah was like, okay, babe, go ahead.
No, I don't even want that. I'm just saying the girl I with, let me just unzip it and take it with me.
Okay.
You don't need it as much as I do. So
No, I just want to say one thing, right?
right.
Because there are a lot of women out there that don't have these issues. And there are a lot of women out there that are taking really good care of your man.
Mhm.
Continue to do so, and continue to just improve. Like, don't stop. Because, you improving, you continue to grow, you continue to cheer on your man, and hopefully he's doing the same for you. If you guys have got a wonderful relationship, by all means, continue to strengthen that relationship. And I appreciate you. For those women that are out there, just really recognizing their men and praising them and loving on them and giving them the physical affection that they need. Dude, that's awesome. I don't know if your husband is telling you this or not, but he loves you, and he doesn't have to worry about anything else. And that is a huge, that just, icing on the cake, whatever you want to call it. That's just the best of the best when you got a wife that is taking care of you like that. So shout out to you women that are doing that for your spouses.
Yeah, because this is like moment of men. The one the whole thing when we came up with the acronym is the moment men stand up, but also the acronym is MOM. Like we have enough respect for women and mothers and what they do, right? Because we're all, I always say every man is a product of the women that we love, right? So when you see a man and you see a man out in the community, out in the field, whether it's his mother, auntie, grandmother, or his spouse, no matter how great that man is, like his life is even greater when he has a good woman. So we're not negating that. We're just talking about the perils of unsatisfying or unfulfilled relationships, or sort of like women that do not meet the benchmark. So this is not for those women who are out there doing all this work and they got a guy who's not doing what's right. We're not talking about that. That's not our platform, right? And I always say, like, I love the fact is that when, there's this thing that the Bible says, when two come together in my name, I'm in the midst. And he said, let what I put together, let no man put asunder, right? Like he's given you the tools for us to function together under one roof, right? We just have to be a partner, right? Like it's no way. Like I always tell you, like, listen, fathers, when you're in a house, as your daughter grows up, you become. It is easier to sort of have a conversation with your daughters than it does with your wife, because then your daughters are growing up and they're looking at you as the husbands they want to marry, so that you're like their hero until they start dating. My God. But when that happens, and even when they start dating, it's just weird. And afterwards, they still recognize you're the man. So you wind up talking with them in the house, hey, baby girl, and this, that, and the other. And for a lot of women, that can seem like, well, he doesn't need to do that to me. And it is just that it is not that the man is overlooking you. It is just that for him, like, she walks in, gives accolades, gives hugs, and loves her daddy and loves her, whether he's biologically or not. If he's raising her, if he's doing the work, like, that's her father, right? You know what I mean? And so that type of attention is the same thing that a man's looking for you on a more intimate and deeper level. So a lot of times when I always say, if you watch a man with his daughters and how much he loves his daughters, right? I would hope that his wife is watching that so that she can reciprocate that, because his daughters had to learn that from somewhere. You know what I mean? And all I'm saying, man, and I'm just saying, like, men will give anything, man. We talk, and it's going to be some rough conversations throughout the years and times we talking on this podcast, and you're not going to like everything, right? But the general, when to be able to get to the truth, right? You have to foster through a bunch of soot to be able to get through it, because the truth is always compiled with so much and I would say like objective, and unprofound and unfounded like information that you have to really sift through it to get through it. I remember they were talking about this whole thing about the Kyrie saying stuff about making comments and everything, and I was just like, and then
Anti-Semitic.
yeah, but the news does it like anti-Semitic, and I was like, this is a black man. Like, I don't understand the comment. Okay, you have a difference of opinion, right? You got to sift through and read history and know all that stuff. This is not our platform. That's not what we're here for. But I'm just saying, like, the truth, like they put up, and recently, was it one of the Migos rappers died?
That yes,
Yeah, was it Takeoff?
yeah.
Was the youngest one, and he said, and the headline I read was, Takeoff gets killed at Jay Prince party, like more in the morning. And first thing I thought, like, oh shoot, Jay Prince and them put a hit on him. Like, but the way they put the title is, it's the sensational.
Yes, it's to get you
right
enthralled and interested in reading it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you the same thing. A lot of podcasters, they go out and I'm like, and they're like, oh, this one does this and this one has an argument, and it's like you look at it and they're just like. They just like two words. It's like me and you, like, Shawn, like, oh, go ahead, I'll see you next week, whatever. You know what I mean? Somebody says, like, he says, see you next week, as if they're not going to podcast tomorrow. Well, maybe we got all these podcasts that I don't have to see them till next week. You know what I mean?
So are you saying, that, just to get back to our topic, a little bit real,
all the time.
Are you saying that men will give anything for them?
All right. For the woman they love.
All right. Men will give anything for the woman they love. Right. Let's remember that.
Right.
All right?
Right.
And will we see them next week?
Yep.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We're out. Moment of Men. Next week.
Hold on. I got to do this.